You must love podcasts if you're listening to this. Do you want to start your own one or you already have one? Then follow Smarter Podcasting to get expert advice from me, Neil Mackay, the podcast guy. Since 2019, we've worked with over 40 podcasters, produced over 700 episodes, and helped many podcasts get to the top of the Apple Podcast charts. And right now, I'm offering you a professional edit for just $27. Click the link in the show notes. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of a Vietnam podcast with me, your host, Neil Mackay. Thank you so much for tuning into this, whether you're watching on YouTube, which you can do now if you want to see what I look like, you can go on YouTube, or thank you for listening wherever you're listening from right now. Whatever you may be doing, I personally always listen to podcasts in the gym, but I'd love to know where you listen from, so make sure to let me know. Thank you so much for all the amazing feedback lately. I've been doing these solo episodes for the first time ever, so we're now into season 10 of a Vietnam podcast, which is absolutely incredible. So thank you to all the Vietnam podcasters out there that have been listening to this over the years and still listen to this day. It means so much to me, and I've talked about this before. It's a weird thing when you make a podcast. I'm here on my own. I'm talking to myself. I make it, I create it, I promote it, and you share it with the world. And then I kind of forget about it, and I forget that people actually listen to this. So I got some feedback today that somebody also listens to my podcast in the gym as well, and they're really enjoying these solo episodes, which is good to hear because, as I mentioned, I was really nervous to start them. For all of this podcast, I've always done interview episodes where I've talked to other people from all over the world, from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, to talk about Vietnam. And this podcast is about Vietnam. And I realized that over the years of doing this, if you listen to every episode, yeah, sure, you'll get to know a bit about me. You'll get to know a bit about my wife and my dog, who I talk about. But I realized, I don't share so much about my life in Vietnam. And after being here for so long, I kind of decided now is the time to start to do that. So the previous episodes, if you haven't listened already, I've talked about my favorite cocktail bars in Saigon, favorite places to go for craft beer, favorite happy hours as well, just to show how cheap I am. And I'm planning to do a future episode about how much my life has changed over the 8 years that I've been here in Saigon, because what I came here as, which was as a backpacker with one backpack, is a totally different person to who I am now in Saigon. So I'm excited to share that with you. But in this episode today, I'm going to share something that I thought I would never share because it's so cheesy, it's so easy, and it's so obvious. But I'm going to share with you what I eat in Vietnam. And for once, I'm not going to talk about expat places because there's plenty of them, and we'll probably get into them as well. We'll probably do the best burger, the best pizza, all of that stuff. It's always hugely controversial every time you do one of those. Everyone has their own opinions. But in this episode, I'm going to share with you my favorite Vietnamese food and where to get it as well. Now, Vietnamese food, I think, is one of the main reasons that I have stayed here for so long. Like last week, I was having a meal and I was eating it and I was like, this is just so delicious. It's so fragrant. I do not think you would be able to get anything as good as this outside of Vietnam. And obviously, it's cheaper. The cost is a big thing that people go on about. But if you go back and listen to my episode with Twin Va, we talk about how the burgeoning 5-star food scene here and how Vietnam food really shouldn't be judged on its cost. But in today's episode, I'm going to share my favorite street food, not because of the cost of it. I won't go into that. It's all cheap. It all costs about the same, but it's all about how good it is. And I'm going to share my secret spots as well. Now, they're spread out across the city. I go to a few different places. I'm a creature of habit. I keep going back to the same places. If you're in Saigon, you may have been there, or you probably have your own favorite place because every single street, every single ward, every single district in Saigon has its own amazing food. It's all so good. But I'm going to share with you today my favorite foods and where to get them. Now, also recently, for all the Vietnam podcasters, I've restarted our Patreon because I want to build a community. We had a Patreon community before and I stopped it because we stopped the podcast for a long time and I didn't want to ask people to be part of a community when essentially a Vietnam podcast was not happening at the time. I had to devote my energy and my focus onto 7 Million Bikes Podcasts, which is our parent company, which now helps produce podcasts for people all over the world, which is so exciting, here in Vietnam and Saigon and all over. But I decided I want to restart it because one, I listen to other podcasts, I make other podcasts, and I hear and see what they do with their community. And it is really cool and it's really exciting to have everybody in the one place that all have a shared vision or all have a shared experience together. So if you go to patreon.com/A Vietnam podcast, you can join on there. They've all got food names, so you can become a bun cha, you can become a cum tam, you can become a bap sao day, which I thought about maybe calling the people who join our Patreon community the bap sao days, which it took me years to figure out that bap sao day, I thought was the name of the food because you hear it going around all the time. You hear it in the intro of the podcast. Then I later found out that bap sao day actually means fried corn here. It's not the full name. So that made me feel pretty stupid as well. But if you want to become a bap sao day or a bap sao day, let me know what you think of that name. I think it's kind of cool. We're going to try and base everything off food. But I would really love you to become a Patreon member. We're going to throw in extra benefits in there, like you can get episodes early. I'll make you a video shout out as well. We'll give you recognition as well to say thank you so much for joining. And it's all about bringing people together. We've just done our first podcast pub crawl, so you'll get invited to special events like that where I talked about my favourite 7 craft beer bars in Saigon. So put my money where my mouth is, and we went out and did a 7-bar pub crawl, and it was only me, Adri and Seamus that managed to make it to all 7 bars. So proud of that. We've also done my favourite happy hours and my favourite cocktail bars, so look out for those ones. Those are probably going to be coming up pretty soon as well. But in this episode, I'm going to share with you what do I eat in Vietnam and why do I not eat this one dish. All right, let's go. Now, one of the things I talked about with Twin recently, which I found quite funny, and I've realized this before, is with Vietnamese food. I feel like most meals you could eat for either breakfast, lunch, or dinner, they don't really have the same delineation that we have in the West. Like you have cereal or muesli or yogurt for breakfast. You would never in a million years eat that for dinner. Even maybe like eggs would be similar. Then for lunch, you have a sandwich. Dinner, you're going to have pasta or meat and 2 veg, whatever you have. We really have clear delineations of what we eat for each meal. Like, for example, we have a mee quang place across the road that is absolutely amazing. And I actually haven't got it on this list. But if you want to get good mee quang, go to the place. It's right across from One Veranda in Tan My Loi on Ta Hien Street. I've taken my friend there who's from Da Nang, which is where mee quang is from, and he gave it a 9 out of 10, and he told me, you have good taste bud for a Westerner, so I'm very proud of that. But that mee quang place opens 7 in the morning, closes about 8 at night. It's packed for breakfast, it's packed for lunch, and it's packed for dinner. It's one of those dishes that you can eat at any time. And I know banh mi is more of a breakfast food, maybe bun thit nung is more of a breakfast food, but I do feel that these meals you could eat at any time, which I think is one of the amazing things about Vietnamese food. But let's get into today's episode. Let me share with you 7 other places, apart from the mee quang place that I just mentioned, that I love to go to and where they are and why you should go there as well. So number 1, I remember this food being mentioned by one of my first guests in episode 1 about how he could eat this food for breakfast, lunch and dinner every single day. And I'd never tried it at the time. I wasn't a big meat eater when we first came to Vietnam. I was actually a vegetarian for 10 years. And then he talked about this food. And so I tried it and I've never looked back. And I completely understand why he said that. And that is, of course, cum tam. Anyone who lives in Vietnam or has been to Vietnam will probably know what it is. It's basically like a marinated pork chop with some rice. You can get a fried egg on top. You can get a little square, like, egg quiche thing with it, which I'm never actually too sure what it is. And then the best thing about it is you get the fish sauce with some pickled veg, some chili as well. Make sure you get a decent amount of chili on there. You sprinkle it all on top. Mash it all up is what I do anyway. It's one of those weird things though. In Vietnam, they don't have knives, which I don't really understand why, because you absolutely need a knife for so many of the foods. And this is one of them, but it only ever comes with a fork and a spoon. So I normally kind of hack it up with the fork and the spoon into little bit. I'm always too scared to look at other people and see how they eat it. So if you're Vietnamese and listening to this, or Western, how do you eat your cum tam? Sometimes I will just actually use my hands and rip up the pork and then mix it all up together. But I do have my cum tam spot. I have a couple of cum tam spots, but my favorite by far is Quan Cum Tam Ba Dat. Now, I'll put the link in the show notes. This place is so popular. And what I love about it is people talk about Tao Dien as being the expat enclave or the expat district, and which is 100% true. And I've talked about this before as well. There's nothing wrong with that. It's why we have Greek Town or Little Italy or Chinatown and other cities in the world. Every other city in the world has a place where communities will find themselves and build up their own community, and that's what Tao Dien is as well. So we won't get into that today though. But Tao Dien still has so much good Vietnamese food there as well. Here at Cum Tam Ba Dat, this has been my go-to Cum Tam place now for years. I don't live here anymore in Tao Dien. I live in Tam My Loy, as you probably know from watching this video. So I don't come here as often as I used to, but anytime I'm in Tao Dien and I have the chance to get Cum Tam here. Again, I'm not going to go on about price. It's super cheap. It's like 30, 40, 50k, something like that. It's absolutely delicious. This is another amazing example of a place that is probably not the cleanest. I'm here pretty early in the day, so that's why there's nobody here. When it gets to lunchtime, this place is going to be packed. I've seen plastic vats full of Cum Tam, full of suan, which is like the pork cutlet, marinating probably overnight. Something that in the West we would probably just never do. You might see the odd rat running about. It's super clean right now because I'm here early, but it's super delicious, so I'm gonna go eat my Cum Tam. We've got to get the fish sauce. How amazing does that look? Fork and spoon. I don't really know how I'm meant to use these together, but somehow it works. And I asked for an egg as well, which is always delicious, always over fried. Don't expect a soft runny egg. And then we got the pickled veg as well, and then comes with soup as well, which again, no idea what's in it, but it's absolutely delicious. I saw somebody post on my Facebook the other day about they can't wait to find a Cum Tam that doesn't have the bone in. Most of these are attached to like a big piece of bone, and then with no knife you kind of gotta, I don't even know, like I said, how people eat this. I just kind of rip it all up, chop it all up, mash it all up. I don't really care what it looks like. It tastes amazing. So if you go to the Tao Dien Pearl, now I hope you noticed how I said that. I'm Scottish. I have to change my accent so much. I've had to do it over the years because I've lived in Australia, America, New Zealand, now Vietnam. Really, in my own accent, I'd say Tao Dien Pearl. But I've changed it for you, Tao Dien Pearl. If you go to Tao Dien Pearl, there's a glassy shop on the corner. Matt Kien, again, pronunciation. There's a glassy shop on the corner. For some reason in Saigon, I don't know about the rest of Vietnam, there's a glass shop on, not like what you drink out of, like eyewear, on every single street corner. No idea why, but go there. Right next to it is Cum Tam Ba Dat. You'll notice it because it'll be full of bites. It's packed. There's always smoke coming out of it, which just smells delicious. They're just always marinating pork chops and then putting them on the grill. And I can't even remember the price. As I said, I'm not going to go into price. They're all about the same, but it's so, so good. So if you want to go check out good Cum Tam, which to be honest, all Cum Tam is good. All of these foods, I've never had bad versions of them, but my particular favorite is in Tao Dien, and it's called Cum Tam Ba Dat. Go check it out. Number 2, maybe my favorite Vietnamese food right now. I kind of gone a bit back on it, but it generally is my favorite Vietnamese food, and it's bun thịt nướng. So bun thịt nướng, for the non-Vietnamese people, the people who don't know what that means, bun is just like rice vermicelli, so those little thin spaghettis. Thịt is meat, which is normally pork, and nướng means grilled. Make sure you say that properly, because I learned from my wife, if you say nướng and not nướng, it means horny, and it doesn't mean grilled, so you've got to be careful. Make sure you ask for bun thịt nướng, otherwise you're asking for horny meat noodles, so be careful with that. But bun thịt nướng comes obviously with like coriander through it, peanuts, which are always amazing. I love peanuts. Has pickled veg, always with the fish sauce, always with the chili. And it's on a bed of like shredded lettuce as well. So it's like, again, Vietnamese food is so healthy. There's all this veg in it. It's got like grilled pork sausages in it, bits of grilled pork as well. You mix it all up together and man, it just tastes amazing. I'm here at one of my favourite bun thịt nướng spots, just up from where I live in Tan My Loy. We got Trung Ban Ban Street. And then on the corner of Ta Hien, I think this costs like 25k, 30k, which is ridiculous. I got my iced coffee from the place next door. It's awesome breakfast combination. It's only like 8 in the morning and I'm gonna have noodles for breakfast, which to me is still just weird but absolutely delicious. So let me show you what I'm gonna be eating. I've tried to make sure that not all of my spots are near where I live, because I do eat a lot of Vietnamese food around where I live, which nobody even in Vietnam has heard of Tam My Loi, which also shows the amazing development of Vietnam over the last few years, because I'm pretty sure 5 years ago this used to be a swamp, and now it's a massive residential area with massive buildings and businesses and football fields and all of that stuff. So Tam My Loi is a really cool spot. A lot of people don't know about it. If you do live out here, go to Trung Van Bang, which is one of the main streets that goes through Tam My Loi. It's right on the corner. It's only in the morning. It's nondescript. It's just one like little cart. It sells a couple other different things. There's really, really good cafe suada, iced coffee right next to it as well. So I'll normally go, if I'm going to get it, I'll take Biscuit for a walk in the morning. We'll go get a bun tét nung and a cafe suada together. And it's absolutely delicious. So go check that one out if you're around the Tam My Loi area, if you want to brave it all the way out here. Now, number 3, I have not had in a long time, and I need to go soon because it's a little bit far away from me. It's all the way in the area that no one that's not from there ever goes to, and it's called District 7. District 7 is one of the best districts in Saigon in terms of like modernization. Another place that used to be a swamp like 20 years ago, now a big Korean population, lots of expats as well, lots of Vietnamese as well, lots of wealthy Vietnamese too, really nice buildings. And over the last few years, more and more craft beer bars, more and more Western restaurants. And it really does cater mostly to Western taste. From what I know, it is a bit of a, I don't want to say cookie cutter, that's not the right word, but purpose-built, that's what I'm looking for. It's more of a purpose-built neighborhood. So there are still Vietnamese places there, of course. I don't go there because I don't eat there very often. The place I want to talk about is just on the edge of District 7, and it's a really, really long street called Win Tea Tap. It's, again, 8 years, it's changed so much. The businesses have changed so much. But I was really happy the last time I went there a couple of months ago. This place is still there, and it's a Hu Tiu Chai. Hu Tu Chai. So this, again, my pronunciation is terrible. Chai, C-H-A-Y, means vegetarian. But if you say it in the wrong way, it can also mean fire. And when Adrian and I first got here, we were vegetarians, and we would walk into places and go, chai? Chai? Which if you say chai with the going up, the accent going up, it actually means fire. So we were walking into these places and talking to the staff and looking at them going, fire? 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 Idiots, I know. But this place is on Win Tea Tap. Again, I'll put the link in the show notes because you're not going to remember that. It's a little Buddhist place. It's so tasty. It's amazing. It's like 25k for this massive bowl. Comes with like a fried wonton in it as well. It's obviously vegetarian. And I need to go back there soon because it is so good. Now, the only downside is, well, there's a couple of downsides. One, I forgot to mention this, right? If you live here, and I've been told this by so many Vietnamese people, and it's so true, the dirtier the place, the better the food. And that 100% guaranteed. And it's so weird to Western sensibilities because if we went to a restaurant and we saw some of the things that we see here, you'd be on the phone to the police right away, never mind the health inspection. You'd be calling the police telling them it's a crime happening here. Whereas here, you go and you see pork chops marinating in the corner that have probably been out for hours. You see them cooking over a flame grill that's probably never been cleaned. There's just trash everywhere, food scraps, and you're like, food's going to be good here, I can tell. So this place is a little bit like that. Looks like it's never been cleaned. There's like black soot all over the walls. And the biggest downside is because it is a Buddhist place, they have like that same kind of Buddhist chant on repeat, which is not a big deal. It's not a problem at all. But I'm just warning you, when you go there, you're going to hear the same thing on repeat for... And I only go for like 10, 15 minutes to eat some food. The people that live and work there are listening to that all day. But obviously it's a religious thing, so they enjoy it. But it's the only downside of going there. But make sure you go check it out. If you live in District 7 or you're going to head out that way, stop on Win Tea Tap. It's like halfway along. I don't even know the name of it. It's just like a Buddhist place. It says Hu Chu right out the front. When you see that, it's right on the corner. Make sure you stop and get a delicious bowl of Hu Chu chai. I think I've still said that wrong. I wanted to share with you about one of my favorite affiliate partners, and that is Fiverr. I've been using Fiverr for years for everything from ordering YouTube thumbnails to keyword research, writing podcast articles, even to Canva designs and thumbnails and more. So whether you're a budding entrepreneur, a podcaster, or anyone in between, Fiverr has got you covered. It really is the go-to platform if you want to find freelancers offering a massive range of services to help you on any project. Maybe you need a stunning new logo or just a short animation, whatever you need, you can find it on Fiverr. What I love the most is how easy Fiverr makes it to connect with talented freelancers from around the world, all at prices that will fit whatever your budget is. Plus, with Fiverr's secure payment system, you can trust that your transactions are safe and secure. No dodgy people you meet on Facebook groups that disappear with your money and never give you what you want. What, that's only happened to me? As an affiliate partner, I will get a small commission if you use the link and at no extra cost to you. As an affiliate partner, I will get a small commission if you click my link and you buy something, all at no extra cost to you. And best of all, you will be directly supporting the making of this podcast that you're listening to for free, but it is not free to make. So why wait? Head over to somewhere that you've probably never been before. It's called the show notes. So whatever app you're listening in, if it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything at all, head to the show notes, click on my special link, and then you can browse thousands of gigs ready to help you with your next project. Hey, you made it. So we're here on Wayne Tea Tap, one of my favorite veggie restaurants. This street is another good example of how much Saigon has changed in 8 years. Ton has arrived. He's going to be our local guide today. Let's see what they got. All right, Tom, what have we got here?
I don't know. This is the first time. So
you don't know what all this is?
I know some. I'm not a big fan of vegetarian. So, but Neil told me a lot about this place. So, yeah, should give it a try.
Let's go. Let's get a seat. All right, I'm very excited for this place. All right, so, you know what you got?
I guess. But there's a lot of some vegetarian stuff in here. I think this deep fried cabbage.
I think it's like tofu skin, maybe?
Oh, yeah, tofu skin. Okay.
Yeah.
Tofu skin.
You wanna ask her what's
tofu. What else? Is that what? I don't know what this is called.
Well, you speak Vietnamese, so you can ask her.
Dạ. Dạ, cái này gọi là gì ta? Cái này gọi là gì? Tàu hũ kỳ. Right. So it's another type of tofu.
Right.
It's like ghee tofu. Yeah, ghee tofu.
Clean tofu?
Ghee
tofu.
Yeah, like K-I, ghee tofu.
Oh, nice. Yeah. All right, now before you eat anything, you've got to add, this is all the stuff that makes it taste amazing. So this is like chili lemongrass, I think.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Then we got tongue and then I'm not sure what you call this, hoisin sauce or brown sauce.
Yeah, that's right.
But you got to add all of that to it to make it delicious.
I think it's got some chili sauce.
This costs, I think, like 25,000.
No way.
Yeah, $1 for this massive bowl of soup. I think the price has hardly changed in all the years that it's come. The wonton is normally my favourite. I normally end up asking for an extra wonton. It's so hot, you're going to wait for it to cool down. We get some turnip as well. Turnip? I think it's turnip, maybe radish. We got noodles, we got bean sprouts. I don't come here very often. I started living in District 7 when I first moved here. In our time here, we've lived in District 1, District 7, District 4, Bunyan, Taoyuan, District 2, and now Canby Loy. 6 different districts. Well, this is how we found this place. I mean, the thing I love about Vietnamese food, or about food in Saigon anyway, there's a million places and they're all amazing, and you just, it's what you find. Because on this street there's like probably another 50 bar places, probably all amazing. You just find like the one or two spots. This is one we don't come to very often because we live quite far away now. But I wanted it for lunch today. Number 4 on the list, again, this might be one of my favorites. They're all my favorites. That's why they've made it onto this list. This one is in Saigon anyway. It's often called Bun Cha Hanoi because it originates in Hanoi. In Hanoi, they probably just call it Bun Cha, but they have changed that name. The last time I was up there, you can see it everywhere there. It's called, can't even say it without laughing, Bun Cha Obama, because this is what Obama and Anthony Bourdain ate when they dined together in Hanoi. So you can go find the famous pictures. And the original place they went to, I've heard, I'm not 100% sure, they've glassed it off. It's now like a little shrine to where they went, which is so, so cool. But other people just jumping on the fact that Obama and Bourdain had Bun Cha, and so you can go loads of different places in Hanoi and it just says Bun Cha Obama, even though he never went there. But it's probably still really good. So it did originate in Hanoi. So Bun Cha is, again, bun is these little vermicelli rice, like spaghetti things, really, really tasty. And then don't actually know what the cha means, but the cha it comes with these little grilled hamburgers, which seems so random. It's the only time I've ever seen it in any Vietnamese food. They're just this small, and the only thing I can describe them is as hamburgers. Then it also comes with thin strips of grilled fatty pork that are fresh off the grill. I tend not to eat the fat, so I'll strip that off, but it does taste really good. I do eat it. I do eat it sometimes. Did you see me just fall there? I do eat it sometimes. And yeah, and then it comes in this really delicious broth. Like, you know that Vietnamese know how to do good broth. The biggest thing, though, is what you add to it. And that's another big thing in Vietnam. What the dish that you're served is not the dish that you eat most of the time. It's what you add to it. So the place that I go to has its own chili sauce. And the first time I tried it, I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And I used Google Translate. I actually bought a bottle of it. It's still in my fridge. It's so, so good. So they bring out like a plate or a bowl of greens. So you add like lettuce, mint, Vietnamese mint, mustard leaf, I think. I don't know the names of all of them, but they're just delicious. Again, really fresh, really healthy. So you tail them up. That's my big tip as well. It really helps get the fragrance out of the leaves. So don't just throw them in, like rip them up into tiny bits, put them in there. So you get a big fragrant bowl of broth with the meat in it. Then you get the bun on the side. You add that bit by bit, add some chili sauce. You normally get chopped garlic as well. Add loads of chopped garlic as well. Mix it all together. But the most important thing you have to remember, you have to add lime. So I went to a place near here recently and I forgot to add the lime. And when I walked to it, I was like, that didn't taste very good. I won't go back there. And then I was like, you didn't add the lime? I had Bun Cha Hanoi for dinner last night. Had my first sip of it and I was like, oh, it doesn't taste too good today. Mostly Vietnamese food is so consistent. It tastes the same every time, but sometimes, it can be a little bit different. Same thing, I remembered, haven't added the lime. It's so, so crucial. It makes me think that it takes away from the Vietnamese food because it's such an easy addition, but it does just bring out all the flavors. So make sure you always remember to add the squeeze of lime, which if you want the Vietnamese for is chan. But again, I'm probably saying it wrong. So just use Google Translate. But my two recommendations, I have two places for this that I like to go to. Well, I'll give you three actually. So one of them I don't go to very often. It's on Xuan Thuy in Thao Dien, and it's a really good example of how, even though Thao Dien is so built up now, there's so many businesses, so many big chains there now, like Highlands Coffee and Phuc Lom and Somewhere, they're all building up there now, but this little place is still there. And when I went there for food last year with someone, they told me it's actually really famous. So it's on Xuan Thuy, just right at the junction where you come up from Thao Dien Pearl, then you turn a right. And again, it's filthy. It's so dirty, but the food tastes so good. So check that one out. But my two main ones, one of them is on Chan Nao. And if you are driving down Chan Nao away from Thao Dien, then you see the ILA building, which is one of the big language schools here. It's right next to that. Again, I'll put the link in the show notes so you can find it. This one is actually quite clean. It's a bit different. It's actually quite a clean one, but really, really delicious Bun Cha Hanoi. So check that one out. And then my big tip again, Tan Mi Loi, because I live here. It's on Trung Van Bang again, just up the corner from where I live on. If you're coming here to visit, you're probably not going to go eat there. But if you do live in Saigon and you find yourself out in the Tan Mi Loi area, in the woods of Tan Mi Loi, definitely go check out this place. It actually is a pho place. So the sign says like pho ba, which is beef pho. But I've never had pho there at all. I only ever get the Bun Cha Hanoi, and it is one of my favorites. So No matter where you go in Saigon or in Vietnam, try the bún chả Hanoi, or if you're in Hanoi, the bún chả Obama. You won't regret it. Number 5, I don't know the history of this food, and I've said this on the podcast before. I need to do more research. This is actually a chain restaurant, and they seem to have just sprung up out of nowhere, which concerns me that they're probably going to disappear within a few months, because I've noticed here in Vietnam, they have this thing where new businesses just spring up everywhere. Like, so we had How Lam Yogurt last year. If anyone who lives here, any expat, remember How Lam Yogurt? And suddenly there was one on every corner. It was like frozen yogurt. It was delicious. Had it a couple of times. But they just seemed like, how can you afford to just open everywhere? And then obviously then they just all disappear. So now it's happened, I think, with this Com Niu. They've just popped up everywhere, but it's really tasty and really good. And it's got a really big menu. I'm not going to go through everything. But what I always get, and it's something I'd never tried up until about a year ago, is called scotched rice. Now again, this is called, and I got this so wrong so many times, they would bring me the wrong dish because I would say it wrong. It's called Cam Chai, but it, again, Chay. But this time I think it means fire. Well, it means scorched, so I assume the direct translation would be fire. It doesn't mean vegetarian. So it's Cam Chai, but it comes out in a like absolutely sizzling hot metal bowl, which is covered in a wicker basket. And then the rice is inside that, and the rice is scorched essentially. So it makes it crispy and it makes it so tasty. And then what I'll get is either a plate of dohu sok ka, which I think my pronunciation is good there, so that's tofu with tomato sauce, or bo sot nam, which is beef and mushrooms. And then you get that as a side dish, pull that on top of it, and it all sizzles away in this metal bowl. And oh my God, then you add some soy sauce, no fish sauce this time, add some soy sauce, some chilies, get some pumpkin flowers on the side as well if you want. If there's 2 of you, that's too much for one person, but if there's 2 of you, get some pumpkin flowers on the side. And it's absolutely delicious. So go check out Com Niu. They're absolutely everywhere right now. I obviously go to the one that's near me as well. This is one of my favorite meals. Just explained it all to you. So I got bo sot nam, which is beef and mushroom. And then I have scotch rice, which is like not wood fire. I don't know if it's wood fire, but it's like fired rice. And so this is my favorite way to do it, so let me show you. So you should hopefully be able to hear that sizzling. Lots of good garlic on there as well, which I absolutely love garlic. You should hopefully be able to hear it sizzle, I don't know. And then you gotta add soy sauce and chilies as well. This is really, really hot. You've got to make sure you don't burn yourself. The last time I was here I touched it, and it will burn you, and it will burn you quickly. I give it a good mix up. But see, this is how it's like scotched, so see how it's like crispy on the outside? It tastes so good. You want to give that a good mix up. To be honest, this is a lot of food. I could share this with Adri, and we'd get some of the pumpkin flowers with it I told you about in the video. But it's going to keep me full for the day. I love mushrooms, the beef is amazing, it's in the garlic, and you can't beat this crispy rice. That's it. Delicious. Now, number 6 is testament to being one of those places that the filthier, the dirtier it is, the better it tastes. Absolutely no offense to the owners of this place at all, but it is disgusting. You go in, there's barely any chairs, there's grime on the wall that's been there for years, there's normally leftover food on the tables, on the floor, there's trash everywhere, but oh my God, that food tastes amazing.
Today we're gonna eat Cam.
So we're at one of my favourite Cam Tam and Cam Ga places, so it's chicken and pork. Tao, are you excited for the Cam Tam?
I'm excited. I'm so hungry now.
Adri, Cam Ga?
Yeah.
I don't get Cam Tam when I go there, I get Cam Ga. Ga means chicken, and the Cam Ga is just absolutely delicious. It's marinated in honey and other spices, other sauces, and it just tastes so good. And you don't often get chicken in Vietnam. That's a big difference. So nearly everywhere you go, it's going to be pork, going to be beef mostly, and very, very rarely chicken. So that's why it's really exciting. Adri doesn't really eat much meat. She mostly only eats chicken. And so that place there is one of my favorites to go to with or without her, to be honest, because it tastes so good. Again, so you get this big leg of chicken with so much fresh white meat on it, really crispy skin marinated in this honey. on top of a bed of broken rice. So it's come time again, so broken rice. You get some veggies on the side, add some fish sauce. I barely even see anyone ordering drinks or anything there. You can get some like cold cha da from the cooler, which is always cool in Vietnam. You just get free iced tea wherever you go. And to be honest, I don't spend much time there. I go in, eat my food and leave. It's not a place to hang out. As I said, it's a little bit dirty, but oh my God, the food is good. So that is also on Chan Now, which is just right next to the ILA as well. So right on the other side of the ILA. So you got two amazing places either side of the ILA. You can tell where I used to work and where I used to eat. That's how I found these places. Again, in the show notes, the description, go check out the link for the Google Maps will be in there as well. And the last of my recommendations, number 7, is Pho Ga Tron. To translate into English, because nobody will know my Vietnamese, pho is a type of noodles. Ga, again, chicken, and tron, I think means dry. So most people think of pho, they think of a soup, or think of a big broth. This is a dry pho. So again, you got some pho noodles in there. They're always made of rice, and they taste amazing. There's some sort of small bit of broth in the bottom of the bowl, which I have no idea what is in it, but oh man, it tastes absolutely amazing. You have some fresh greens in there, some more peanuts that taste amazing as well. Get a little bowl of soup on the side. Add some chili sauce, add some garlic, mix it all up together. It sounds like I'm describing bun thi nung. A lot of these dishes all sound similar when you describe them, but you just have to taste them. It's so, so good. And that place is also on Tan Mi Loi. That place is also in Tan Mi Loi, also on Trun Vang Bang. Obviously, most of these places are near where I live. I'm getting pretty hungry for lunch now, so we're going to have to wrap this video up. And I just want to finish with the one glaring food that you might be wondering, how has he not mentioned this? And that is, of course, the traditional pho soup. That is Vietnam's biggest export when it comes to food. It's what everybody knows about. I really don't like it that much. It's fine, it's good, it's a hot soup, it's got some nice spices and nice flavors in it. But again, I've just listed off 7 and then an extra one because I forgot about Mi Quang. I've listed off 8 foods there. There's only 7 days in the week. Pho would probably be way even lower on my list. There's probably more foods that I've forgotten about. So if you're listening from overseas and you're like, yeah, but pho is the best, I will almost guarantee the pho that you are eating wherever you are overseas, for one, is just not the same as the pho here. And 2, there are so many more Vietnamese dishes that are way, way better than pho. So let me know in the comments, send me a message. What do you think of this list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I don't care. Just tell me what you think. I love to hear from you. I want you to become a Bup Sao Day as well, so join our Patreon so we can start an amazing community of people who are passionate about Vietnam as well. And don't forget, rate, review, subscribe, all of that stuff, and turn on the notifications. And if you did enjoy this episode, please share it with someone else. It really helps. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of a Vietnam podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Neil Mackay. Cheers. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're like me, you may use your laptop at places where you have to use public Wi-Fi. This opens you up to digital snoopers. It's a massive problem. It can be your internet service provider, or you know who, looking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal trying to steal your bank passwords or credit card info, or even a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. These days, it is vital that you keep your data safe. NordVPN keeps all of these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites that are phishing for your data, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. And it's easy to use, even I could use it. I've actually been using NordVPN for years now here in Vietnam, and I'm excited to be an affiliate partner with them. I've used NordVPN to watch Netflix, BBC, Disney Plus with ease. And I also know that my information and data are safe from prying eyes, whoever they may be. Join now and you'll get 68% off and 3 months free when you go to my link, nordvpn.com/SMB. Just again, for those hard of hearing, nordvpn.com/SMB. The link is also in the show notes. I know nobody checks them out, but go check that out and you can get the link from wherever you're listening to this podcast. As an affiliate partner, it also means that I will get a small commission when you sign up, but at no extra cost to you. So not only will you be getting a great deal through 7 Million Bikes, you get a great VPN and you'll be supporting 7 Million Bikes podcast. Stay safe online and enjoy the shows you love. Any questions, just let me know. You know how to get in touch with me. And thanks for listening to this show. Cheers.